guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kaylee, and today I'm gonna do my May wrap-up. I haven't done a wrap-up in a minute, and May was a good one. I had a relatively good reading month. I read a total of 27 books, with 8 of those being physical books, 6 of them being ebooks, and 13 audiobooks. Read a lot of audiobooks this month, which was actually really good. I just ended up keep getting lucky with Libby. So I was able to get through a lot. My average rating for the entire month was 3.91, and for totals, I read 5,067 pages, and I listened to a grand total of 181 hours and 33 minutes. For genres, the genre I had read the most of in the month of May was romance. No surprise there with Wild and Windy. I fell into a hole and just didn't crawl out of. The next being fantasy at 11. Romance was 12 books. Fantasy is at 11. Next, the last two are tied, and that is sci-fi and romantasy, being at 2 books each. So mostly fantasy and romance for the month of May, which I'm not mad about. I'm gonna go through all the books I read in the month of May and the rating that I ended up giving them all. I'm gonna do this in the order that I read them. So the first book is Soul of the Deep by Natasha Bowen, and I gave this 3 stars. Next, I listened to Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This was a reread, and I ended up giving it 4 stars, which is the same as the first time I read it. Next, I read Almost There by Farah Roshan. This is a Princess and the Frog retelling from the Disney Twisted Tales series, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. Next, I read Destroy the Day by Bridget Kemmer. I listened to this on audio, and I gave this 5 stars. This was my favorite read of the month. Next, I listened to Dragon Fruit by Makia Lucier. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I gave this 3.5 stars. Next, I read The Last Encore by Elodie Colliard. I read this on ebook for Romance Con. And I ended up giving this 4 stars. Really enjoyed this romance. Next, I listened to Blade Breaker by Victoria Aveyard, second book in Realm Breaker, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. Next, I listened to Maybe Now by Colleen Hoover. This is the finale in the Maybe duet. I listened to this on audio like I did the other 2 books, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. Up next, I read Lore of the Wild by Annalie Sabrana, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was a really strong start to a new series. Up next is an arc. Did not do great with reading arcs this month, only read 2, but I had no DNFs. So the first arc that I read was Attached to the Hip by Christine Riccio. I read this one because she will also be at Romance Con, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. Up next, I listened to Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. I listened to this on audio, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. Phenomenal book. Up next, I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I also gave this 5 stars. Tears, so many tears, such a good book. I love Abby Jimenez so much. Up next, I listened to Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken. This is the second book in the Darkest Minds series, and I'm giving this 4 stars. This is a strong sequel, considering how many annoying books that get sequel syndrome that I've been reading lately. And also, I'm realizing the first paperback I have in this stack. Up next, I finished A Kingdom of Venom and Vows by Holly Renee, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. I had a great time with this whole series. I've got the spin-off book left that I'm reading later this month. Up next, I have The Poison Season by Mara Rutherford, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. Really whimsical and weird, but entertaining. Next, I listened to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is definitely one of my favorite in the entire series, so I ended up giving it 5 stars. Up next, I read Haps by Scott Cawthon, Ellie Cooper, and Andrea Wagner. I listened to this on audiobook, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. Next, I read The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. I listened to this on audiobook, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I was so hesitant to jump into a next generation type story. Did not disappoint. Next, I read Damaged Like Us by Krista and Becca Ritchie, another next gen story that I read on ebook, and I had a great time. 4 stars. Next, I read Out with the Tide by Julie Olivia. This is a cool mermaid Peter Pan love story. 4 stars. Really fun. Really well done. Next, I read Beyond Just Us by Kimberly Kincaid. This is the 4th book in the Remington Medical series, and I'm giving this 3.5 stars. Considering I DNF'd book 3 I'm glad I gave the last book a chance because it probably was my favorite of the entire series. Next, I read Darker by Fourth, listened to this on audio, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. Really intriguing, an anime-esque type story. Next, I read Fate Breaker by Victoria Aveyard, closing out the Realm Breaker series, and I'm giving this 3.5 stars. Next, I read The Games We Play by Dana Ile. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was fun. This is just a good time. Next, I listened to The Initiation by Nikki Sloan on audiobook, and I'm giving this 3.5 stars. I ended up buying book 2 by mistake at Wild and Windy, and when I found The Initiation, book 1, on Everand, I picked it up naturally. Next, I picked up The Harder They Ride by Coralie June. I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. This was very fun, very dark, cowboy mafia, bunch of weird things all put together. And the last book that I read was another ARC, and that was Inside the Wicked by C.C. Penaranda. This, okay, I was a little, I don't want to say annoyed because that's not the right word, but agitated? I don't know. Confused. It's probably a better term. I got the ARC over the weekend, and I was like, oh, okay, there's no release date. I have no idea. I have time to read it. That Tuesday, she announced that it was releasing, so I did read it a bit later than I wanted to, but I had no idea when it was releasing. So, did read it a bit late, but I still have read it during release week, so I'm going to count that as a win, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. So that was my rapid fire wrap up, because I read a lot, so I don't really feel the need to go into too much detail, but yeah, so that's what I read for the month of May. Really good month. I had a lot more 5-star reads than I expected, and I have a lot of high hopes for June. I'm reading a lot more of the stuff I got from Wild and Windy, continuing a lot of romance series, so really excited to jump into all of those. But that's going to be it for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post 1 to 2 times a week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!